First contact gone wrong. Admiral Elena Devereaux stood at the viewport of the UES Pathfinder, Earth's most advanced exploration vessel. The vast emptiness of space stretched before her, a canvas of infinite black dotted with the brilliant light of distant stars. This mission marked humanity's furthest venture into the unknown, nearly 30 light-years from Earth, seeking peaceful first contact with sentient life. Admiral, Lieutenant Commander Takashi called from his station. We're detecting anomalous energy signatures at the edge of the Epsilon Eridani system. Consistent readings with artificial origin. Elena's heart raced. After centuries of searching, humanity might finally have its answer. Put it on the main screen, Lieutenant. The holographic display flickered to life, showing what appeared to be a massive space station orbiting the system's outermost planet. Its architecture was unlike anything humanity had conceived. Organic curves melded with crystalline structures that seemed to pulse with internal light. Open all standard greeting channels, Elena ordered. Broadcast the first contact protocol. For 3 days, the Pathfinder maintained position at a respectful distance, transmitting mathematical sequences, basic scientific principles, and peaceful intentions in every conceivable format. On the 4th day, they received a response. The main screen illuminated with the image of an alien being. Its body was vaguely humanoid but covered in iridescent scales. Multiple eyes. Elena counted 6, blinked independently across what she presumed was its face. When it spoke, the ship's AI translated. I am High Commander Zex Vorax of the Galactic Hegemony. Your presence has been noted, primitive species. Elena stepped forward. I am Admiral Elena Devereaux of Earth's United Nations Space Command. We come with peaceful intentions to establish diplomatic relations. The alien's upper eyes narrowed. Diplomatic relations. Your species has barely mastered rudimentary interstellar travel. The hegemony does not establish relations with developing species. You may petition for protectorate status, which will place your world under our guidance until you reach an acceptable level of civilization. Elena maintained her diplomatic composure despite the condescension. With respect, High Commander, we prefer to maintain our independence while establishing mutual cooperation. A sound emerged from the alien that the translator identified as laughter. Independence. Your species is but an infant crawling among giants. Our civilization has existed for 50,000 of your years. We have seen species like yours rise and fall countless times. Age does not necessarily correlate with wisdom, High Commander. Elena responded carefully. Perhaps an exchange of knowledge would benefit us both. Knowledge. Zex Vorax's scales rippled in what Elena interpreted as amusement. What could your kind possibly teach the hegemony? We have cataloged your transmissions. Your technology is primitive, your physics incomplete, your understanding of the universe laughably limited. The conversation continued in this vein for hours, with Elena attempting to establish common ground, while the hegemony representative dismissed humanity's achievements with increasingly open contempt. When the transmission ended, Elena called an emergency meeting with her senior staff. They're not interested in cooperation, she summarized. They see us as primitives to be subjugated or ignored. Dr. Elijah Cohen, the ship's xenoanthropologist, nodded grimly. This matches historical patterns from Earth. Technologically advanced civilizations often view less developed ones as inferior. The hegemony appears to operate on a strict hierarchical basis, with technological advancement as the primary metric of worth. So what do we do? Asked Commander Rodriguez, head of security. Return to Earth. Continue attempts at diplomacy. Elena stared at the alien station on the view screen. We proceed with caution. We've encountered an interstellar civilization that sees us as insignificant. But we also can't abandon our mission. We'll maintain position and continue attempts at establishing more respectful dialogue. For weeks, the Pathfinder orbited at the edge of the system, documenting everything about the hegemony they could observe from a distance. They witnessed ships coming and going, vessels that made Earth's most advanced craft look like primitive rockets, Then came the Proxima incident. It began with a distress call from humanity's farthest colony in the Proxima Centauri system. The message was fragmented, desperate. Unknown vessels. No response to hails. Weapons charging. God help us. The Pathfinder was too far away to render assistance. Alina could only watch in horror as later transmissions from Earth confirmed the worst. The Proxima colony, home to over 50,000 people, had been completely destroyed. Surveillance drones captured images of current estimates place completion within 6 months. Admiral Devereaux reported. Initial weapons testing exceeds expectations. The reality distortion drive achieves 97% of theoretical performance. And the hegemony? Asked Chairwoman Lena Okafor, who had succeeded Alvarez after his death the previous year. Still unaware of our true capabilities, Alina confirmed. Our diplomatic corps continues to project an image of technological stagnation and political division. The hegemony intelligence reports we've intercepted describe Earth as struggling with basic interstellar concepts and paralyzed by internal conflicts. Chairwoman Okafor nodded in satisfaction. The deception campaign is working then. They still see us as primitive and divided. Yes, though their expansion continues. At current rates, they'll reach Sol within 18 months. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The retribution would be ready, but only barely before the hegemony arrived in force. There's something else, Alina added, her expression grave. We've decoded more of their cultural transmissions. The hegemony doesn't merely dismiss less advanced species. They actively cull them if they show too much independence. They believe it's their evolutionary duty to prune the galactic tree of species that might one day challenge them. So diplomacy was never a real option, concluded Defense Minister Santiago. No, Alina confirmed. For the hegemony, our choices were submission or extinction from the moment we encountered them. The meeting continued with discussions of resource allocation, civilian preparation, and contingency plans, but one truth remained unspoken. Humanity had committed to a path from which there was no return. They would either emerge from this crucible transformed but free, or they would not emerge at all. In the void of space beyond Neptune's orbit, a small fleet of conventional human warships maintained position, a deliberate display of Earth's limited military capacity for any hegemony observers. Meanwhile, beneath the Pacific, the retribution neared completion, its true capabilities hidden from enemy eyes. 3 months later, in the command center of the Mariana facility, Alina stood before the assembled crew of the Retribution, 300 of Earth's finest, selected not just for their skills, but for their psychological resilience. You've all studied the mission parameters, she began. In 2 days, we launch humanity's response to the hegemony's aggression. Make no mistake, this is not just another ship. The Retribution represents humanity's refusal to be subjugated, our determination to secure our place among the stars on our own terms. She looked at the faces before her, some resolute, others anxious, all aware of the historic weight of what they were about to undertake. The hegemony believes they understand us. They've categorized humanity as primitive, predictable, and ultimately insignificant. That mistake will cost them dearly. Alina's voice hardened. We strike directly at the heart of their power. The hegemony Central Command at Epsilon Eridani. Not their outposts, not their colonies, but their leadership. The audacity of the plan had shocked even the Security Council. Conventional military wisdom would suggest testing their new vessel against smaller targets first. But Alina had argued convincingly that conventional wisdom didn't apply when facing an enemy with overwhelming numerical superiority. Humanity needed to demonstrate their capabilities in a way the hegemony couldn't ignore or dismiss. Each of you was chosen because you represent the best of humanity. Our ingenuity, our resilience, our determination. The neural interfaces you'll use connect you not just to this ship, but to humanity's future. We carry the hopes of 8 billion people with us into the void. As the crew dispersed to final preparations, Elena walked the massive hangar where the Retribution waited. Its midnight black hull absorbed light, making it appear like a void cut into reality itself. Weapon systems that would make the hegemony's technology look primitive were integrated seamlessly into its structure. Dr. Elijah Cohen joined her, his expression troubled. You know, the ancient Greeks had a concept, hubris, the dangerous pride that led heroes to their downfall. Elena nodded. I studied history, Elijah. I know the warnings about overreach, about becoming the monster you're fighting. And yet we proceed. Current estimates place completion within 6 months, Admiral Devrox reported. Initial weapons testing exceeds expectations. The reality distortion drive achieves 97% of theoretical performance. And the hegemony? Asked Chairwoman Lena Okafor, who had succeeded Alvarez after his death the previous year. Still unaware of our true capabilities, Elena confirmed. Our diplomatic corps continues to project an image of technological stagnation and political division. The hegemony intelligence reports we've intercepted describe Earth as struggling with basic interstellar concepts and paralyzed by internal conflicts. Chairwoman Okafor nodded in satisfaction. The deception campaign is working then. They still see us as primitive and divided. Yes, though their expansion continues. At current rates, they'll reach Sol within 18 months. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The Retribution would be ready, but only barely before the hegemony arrived in force. There's something else, Elena added, her expression grave. We've decoded more of their cultural transmissions. The hegemony doesn't merely dismiss less advanced species, they actively cull them if they show too much independence. They believe it's their evolutionary duty to prune the galactic tree of species that might one day challenge them. So diplomacy was never a real option, concluded Defense Minister Santiago. No, Elena confirmed. For the hegemony, our choices were submission or extinction from the moment we encountered them. The meeting continued with discussions of resource allocation, civilian preparation, and contingency plans, but one truth remained unspoken. Humanity had committed to a path from which there was no return. They would either emerge from this crucible transformed but free, or they would not emerge at all. In the void of space beyond Neptune's orbit, a small fleet of conventional human warships maintained position, a deliberate display of Earth's limited military capacity for any hegemony observers. Meanwhile, beneath the Pacific, the Retribution neared completion, its true capabilities hidden from enemy eyes. 3 months later, in the command center of the Mariana facility, Elena stood before the assembled crew of the Retribution, 300 of Earth's finest, selected not just for their skills, but for their psychological resilience. You've all studied the mission parameters, she began. In 2 days, we launch humanity's response to the hegemony's aggression. Make no mistake, this is not just another ship. The Retribution represents humanity's refusal to be subjugated, our determination to secure our place among the stars on our own terms. She looked at the faces before her, some resolute, others anxious, all aware of the historic weight of what they were about to undertake. The hegemony believes they understand us. They categorize humanity as primitive, predictable, and ultimately insignificant. That mistake will cost them dearly. Elena's voice hardened. We strike directly at the heart of their power, the hegemony central command at Epsilon Eridani. Not their outposts, not their colonies, but their leadership. The audacity of the plan had shocked even the Security Council. Conventional military wisdom would suggest testing their new vessel against smaller targets first. But Elena had argued convincingly that conventional wisdom didn't apply when facing an enemy with overwhelming numerical superiority. Humanity needed to demonstrate their capabilities in a way the hegemony couldn't ignore or dismiss. Each of you was chosen because you represent the best of humanity. Our ingenuity, our resilience, our determination. The neural interfaces you'll use connect you not just to this ship, but to humanity's future. We carry the hopes of 8 billion people with us into the void. As the crew dispersed to final preparations, Elena walked the massive hangar where the Retribution waited. Its midnight black hull absorbed light, making it appear like a void cut into reality itself. Weapon systems that would make the Hegemony's technology look primitive were integrated seamlessly into its structure. Dr. Elijah Cohen joined her, his expression troubled. You know, the ancient Greeks had a concept, hubris, the dangerous pride that led heroes to their downfall. Elena nodded. I've studied history, Elijah. I know the warnings about overreach, about becoming the monster you're fighting. And yet we proceed. What's the alternative? Submit to the hegemony. Allow humanity to become pets or slaves. Or worse, face extinction because we've become inconvenient. She placed her hand against the Retribution's hull, feeling the subtle vibration of its systems coming online. We didn't choose this path. It was chosen for us when the hegemony decided our worth based on their technological measuring stick. Like this. The Retribution didn't resemble traditional human spacecraft with their clean lines and practical designs. This was a predator. 17 kilometers of angular black metal bristling with weapon systems that had existed only in theoretical papers months ago. Its asymmetrical design confounded the eye, deliberate chaos engineered to make targeting systems falter. 3 years, Weiss said, pride evident in his voice. 3 years since the Proxima incident, and we've accomplished what the hegemony would consider impossible for a primitive species. Elijah nodded. Have you seen the latest intelligence from the Pathfinder network? After the initial encounter, Earth had secretly dispatched dozens of stealth probes throughout nearby systems, gathering critical intelligence on hegemony technology and society. The information had been invaluable, allowing humanity to focus their research on specific vulnerabilities. I have, White confirmed grimly. The hegemony has established mining operations in 3 more systems within 50 light-years of Earth. They're expanding in our direction. And still no acknowledgement of our diplomatic transmissions. Wei's laugh was bitter. Oh, they acknowledged them. Their response was to send a small administrative vessel to Sol's outer boundary. They've offered us protectorate status again, essentially surrendering our independence in exchange for not being eradicated when we become inconvenient. Elijah stared at the Retribution's growing form. The ship incorporated technologies humanity had long theorized, but never developed due to ethical concerns. Quantum-entangled particle weapons that disrupted matter at the subatomic level. Reality distortion engines that bent the laws of physics themselves. Artificial intelligence systems with cognitive capabilities that danced dangerously close to true sentience. Does it bother you? Elijah asked softly. That we've abandoned so many of our principles. Wei was silent for a long moment. My grandfather survived the Shanghai flooding of 2084. He used to tell me that principles are luxuries for peaceful times. When survival is at stake, you use every tool available. Even if those tools change who we are. We're adapting, not changing our core values. The hegemony destroyed Proxima because they could, because they saw us as insects. We're building the Retribution not to conquer, not to subjugate, but to ensure humanity's survival and independence. Elsewhere in the facility, Admiral Elena Devereaux was reviewing the latest neural interface tests with Dr. Sophia Reyes, the project's chief neuroscientist. The integration is holding stable at 94%, Sophia reported, displaying brain scans on her tablet. Higher than we anticipated for prolonged connections. Elena studied the results with a mixture of hope and concern. The Retribution's innovative command system required direct neural interfaces between the ship's AI and its senior officers. The technology allowed reaction times and tactical processing far beyond conventional methods, but raised significant ethical questions about the blurring line between human and machine. What about the cognitive bleed-through? Elena asked, referring to the phenomenon where the AI's thought patterns temporarily influenced the human operator. Sophia hesitated. Still present, but manageable with the new isolation protocols. The test subjects report. changes in thinking patterns for approximately 6 hours after disconnection, more analytical, less emotional decision-making, and the long-term effects. Unknown, Sophia admitted. We haven't had the luxury of decade-long trials. Elena nodded, understanding the unspoken reality. Humanity was developing technologies they didn't fully understand because the alternative was extinction. The hegemony had forced their hand. In the weapons testing facility on Mars, Commander Marcus Chen observed as the prototype quantum disruptor cannon fired at a target asteroid in the belt. The beam, invisible except for the rippling distortion it created in space, struck the massive rock. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the asteroid simply unmade itself, dissolving into constituent particles that dispersed into the void. Energy consumption. Marcus asked the technician beside him. 32% of projected battle capacity, she responded. We can improve the efficiency by at least another 12 points before installation. Marcus watched the asteroid's remnants disperse. The weapon functioned by severing the quantum bonds that held matter together. Against a planetary target, it would be apocalyptic. The ethical implications were staggering, but so was the threat humanity faced. Proceed with the refinements, he ordered, and schedule another test with the simulated hegemony shield configuration. Back on Earth, in a secure conference room beneath the Alps, the United Earth Security Council received updates on the Retribution's progress. Give us from our first encounter. The Retribution is humanity's response to your contempt. As if to emphasize her point, the ship's sensors detected numerous hegemony reinforcements entering the system. Elena nodded to Chen, who targeted and disabled them with almost casual ease. The Retribution's advanced AI calculating and executing optimal firing solutions faster than organic minds could process. Your reinforcements will not change the tactical situation, Elena observed. Now shall we discuss terms, or shall we continue this demonstration of humanity's capabilities? The Supreme Overseer's posture changed subtly, a cultural signal that intelligence had identified as reluctant acceptance. What terms does Earth propose? Elena sent a preformulated treaty through the communication channel. Full recognition of human sovereignty. Non-aggression pacts. Fair trade agreements between our civilizations. And reparations for the lives lost at Proxima Centauri. And if we refuse? Elena's expression hardened. Then we demonstrate what the Retribution can do when not exercising restraint. The quantum disruptors can be tuned to affect planetary masses, not just ships and stations. We could render this world uninhabitable without firing a second volley. It was a bluff. The Retribution was indeed capable of such destruction, but Elena had no intention of authorizing planetary devastation. Humanity had built this ship for defense, not genocide. But the hegemony didn't know that. The Supreme Overseer was silent for a long moment, its alien features unreadable to human eyes. Finally, it spoke. We will consider your terms. You have 1 Earth hour, Elena replied, during which time the Retribution will maintain position and continue to neutralize any vessels that approach with hostile intent. After the transmission ended, Dr. Cohen approached Elena's command chair. They're stalling, he said quietly, likely attempting to bring more significant weapons to bear. Elena nodded. I know. Lieutenant Rodriguez, maintain scan on all approach vectors. Commander Chen, prepare the reality phasing demonstration. Reality phasing? Cohen questioned. That wasn't in the mission parameters. A contingency, Elena explained. If they refuse to negotiate in good faith, we need to demonstrate capabilities beyond merely disabling their technology. 53 minutes into the 1-hour deadline, sensors detected a massive energy surge from the far side of Epsilon Eridani. A moment later, a hegemony vessel unlike any they had previously encountered emerged, a massive construct nearly twice the size of the Retribution. Dreadnought class, Chen reported, real concern evident in his voice despite the neural interface's emotional dampening. Energy readings suggest planet killer capabilities. The massive hegemony vessel moved with surprising speed for its size, positioning itself between the Retribution and the hegemony homeworld. A transmission followed immediately. "Humans," came the voice of Supreme Overseer Sal Kutar, now confident once more. "You have impressed us with your technological advancement. However, the Eternal Dominion cannot be coerced. This vessel carries weapons capable of reducing your Earth to its constituent atoms. Withdraw now, and we may still grant you protectorate status instead of extinction." Elena studied the tactical display, her mind interfaced with the Retribution's AI as they analyzed the new threat. The hegemony dreadnought was indeed formidable, likely their civilization's most powerful weapon, held in reserve for existential threats. "Admiral," Chen prompted. "Orders." Elena's decision was immediate. "Activate reality phasing. Target the dreadnought." The Retribution's most classified system came online, a technology that even most of Earth's leadership didn't fully understand. Based on principles that danced at the edge of theoretical physics, it allowed matter to temporarily exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. "Reality phasing active," confirmed the ship's AI directly through the neural link. 10 seconds to execution. The space around the Retribution rippled as conventional physics surrendered to human ingenuity. For a brief moment, the massive ship simply ceased to exist in normal spacetime, becoming quantum potential rather than physical reality. On the hegemony dreadnought, sensors would have shown the human vessel vanishing completely. A moment later, the Retribution phased back into existence, directly behind the dreadnought, inside its defensive perimeter. "Target weapon systems only," Elena ordered. "Maximum precision." The quantum disruptors fired, their invisible beams striking with surgical precision. On the dreadnought, critical weapon systems simply stopped functioning as their subatomic bonds were selectively disrupted. "Open a channel," Elena commanded. The Supreme Overseer's image appeared once more, its multiple eyes wide with what intelligence identified. Elijah remained silent for a long moment. "Just remember why we built this ship. Not for conquest, not for vengeance, but for survival. If we forget that distinction—" "We won't," Elena promised, though she wondered if future generations would understand the desperate calculations that had led humanity to this moment. The Retribution is a shield, not just a sword. 2 days later, beneath the Pacific Ocean, massive floodgates opened. Water drained from the construction bay as the Retribution powered up its systems for the first time. The reality distortion drive hummed to life, bending space-time around the massive vessel. On the bridge, Elena settled into the command chair, neural connection points extending to interface with her consciousness. Around her, the command crew did the same, their minds joining with the ship's advanced AI in a symphony of human intuition and machine precision. As the neural link established, Elena felt the Retribution become an extension of herself. Its sensors her eyes, its weapons her hands, its drive her legs. The sensation was disorienting but exhilarating, expanding her consciousness beyond human limitations. "All systems online," reported Commander Chen, his voice oddly distant as it competed with the direct neural feed. "Reality distortion drive at standby. Quantum weapons primed. Structural integrity optimal," added Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez. "Stealth systems engage." Elena took a deep breath, feeling the ship do the same through thousands of sensor readings. Navigation, plot course for Epsilon Eridani. Maximum stealth protocols. The Retribution rose from Earth's ocean, water cascading from its massive form as it ascended toward the stars. To conventional sensors, it would appear as nothing more than a sensor ghost, a momentary blip easily dismissed as atmospheric interference. As the ship cleared Earth's atmosphere, Elena gave the order that would change humanity's destiny forever. "Engage reality distortion drive. Take us to the heart of the hegemony." The space around the Retribution rippled as conventional physics surrendered to human ingenuity. In an eye blink, the vessel vanished from the Sol system, leaving behind an Earth holding its collective breath. The message was clear. Humanity would not go quietly into the night. The species that the hegemony had laughed at was about to demonstrate just how dangerous primitives could be when fighting for their survival. Counter-strike. The Retribution emerged from reality distortion at the edge of the Epsilon Eridani system, the massive vessel temporarily invisible as its stealth systems absorbed all electromagnetic radiation. On the bridge, Admiral Elena Devereaux observed the hegemony homeworld through the ship's advanced sensors. Her consciousness partially merged with the vessel's AI through her neural interface. "Magnificent," she whispered, both vocally and through the neural network. Epsilon Eridani I was a gleaming jewel of a world, its surface covered with crystalline cities that captured and refracted starlight in hypnotic patterns. Orbital structures formed a complex lattice around the planet, demonstrating engineering on a scale humanity had only theorized. "Multiple defensive platforms detected," reported Commander Chen through the neural link, his thoughts carrying more nuance than spoken words could convey. 23 major orbital facilities, approximately 300 vessels of various classes. "Any indication they've detected us?" Elena asked. "Negative. Their sensor sweeps are passing through our position without pause." Elena nodded, experiencing a momentary disorientation as the ship's systems interpreted the gesture as a command to adjust sensory focus. "Begin passive data collection. I want to understand their defense grid before we reveal ourselves." For 6 hours, the Retribution remained motionless, gathering intelligence on hegemony defensive capabilities, communication patterns, and fleet movements. The data confirmed their earlier intelligence. The hegemony was technologically advanced but complacent, their defenses designed to repel threats from civilizations they considered near peers, not primitives like humanity. They never expected a species they dismissed to strike at their homeworld, Dr. Cohen observed from his science station. Their arrogance has created a significant blind spot. Elena studied the tactical display, where the Retribution's AI had identified critical vulnerabilities in the hegemony's defense network. "It's time to exploit that blind spot. Lieutenant Rodriguez, prepare to transmit the ultimatum on all hegemony frequencies." The bridge crew exchanged nervous glances. This was the moment when humanity would reveal not just their presence but the true extent of their technological advancement. A direct challenge to the hegemony's supremacy. "Transmission ready, Admiral," Rodriguez confirmed. Elena straightened in her command chair. "Disengage stealth systems. Power weapons to standby." The Retribution shimmered into visibility at the edge of the Epsilon Eridani system, a massive black silhouette against the stars, its angular form designed to intimidate as much as to function. Almost immediately, alarm signals rippled through the hegemony communications network as their sensors detected the unexpected vessel. "They're scrambling response vessels," Chen reported. "Confusion in their command channels. They don't recognize our ship classification." "Now, Lieutenant," Elena ordered, "let them hear us." On every hegemony communication device throughout the system, Elena's image appeared, a human figure that the hegemony had dismissed as primitive and inconsequential. "This is Admiral Elena Devereaux of the United Earth Ship Retribution," she began, her voice calm but carrying an unmistakable steel edge. 3 years ago, your civilization destroyed our Proxima Centauri colony, killing 50,000 innocent civilians. You dismissed this atrocity as inconsequential. You offered us subjugation instead of respect. You called us primitives, insects to be brushed aside. She paused, letting the hegemony observers absorb the reality that a supposedly primitive species had somehow developed technology advanced enough to reach their homeworld undetected. "Humanity rejects your assessment of our worth. We reject your hierarchy based on technological benchmarks. And we categorically reject your right to determine which species deserves to exist independently in this galaxy." The hegemony defense fleet was now mobilizing, dozens of vessels moving to intercept the Retribution. Elena continued, undeterred. "As a demonstration of humanity's capabilities you so grievously underestimated, we will now neutralize your orbital defense network." No lives will be lost if you do not fire upon us. This is a surgical strike, not a slaughter. Unlike you, we do not destroy those we consider less advanced." She nodded to Commander Chen. "End transmission. Target primary defense platforms with quantum disruptors. Minimal power. Disable. Don't destroy." The Retribution's weapon systems activated invisible beams of quantum disruption lancing out toward the nearest hegemony defense platforms. Where they struck, systems simply ceased functioning as quantum bonds were selectively disrupted, rendering technology inoperable without causing catastrophic structural failure. "Hegemony vessels approaching," Rodriguez reported. "They're charging weapons." "Defensive fields to maximum," Elena ordered. "Prepare for counterfire, but maintain weapons discipline. We're here to demonstrate power, not to massacre." The first hegemony vessels fired. Brilliant energy beams that would have vaporized conventional human ships. They splashed harmlessly against the Retribution's reality distortion fields, the energy dissipating into subspace. "No damage," Chen confirmed. "Their weapons are operating on principles our defenses were specifically designed to counter." Elena nodded. "Target their propulsion systems. Disable but don't destroy." Again, the quantum disruptors fired with surgical precision, leaving hegemony vessels drifting powerless but intact. On the tactical display, Elena watched as confusion turned to panic throughout the hegemony fleet. Their most powerful weapons were proving ineffective against this vessel from a species they had classified as barely spacefaring. "Incoming transmission from the planetary surface," Rodriguez announced. It appears to be the Hegemony High Council itself." "On screen," Elena ordered. The main display illuminated with the image of an elderly hegemony leader, its scales dulled with age, but its multiple eyes sharp with anger. And, Elena noted with satisfaction, fear. "I am Supreme Overseer Tal Kutor of the Hegemony High Council," the alien intoned. "Your attack on our homeworld is an act of war that will result in the complete eradication of your species." Elena's expression remained impassive. "Supreme Overseer, this is not an attack. It is a demonstration. Had we wished to destroy rather than disable, your defense platforms and vessels would be debris, not merely powerless. As for war, you declared war on humanity when you destroyed our colony without provocation." The Supreme Overseer's scales rippled in what intelligence reports had identified as a sign of extreme agitation. "What do you want, human? Resources? Territory? Name your price for withdrawing." "We want what all sentient species deserve: recognition of our sovereignty and right to exist without interference. We want acknowledgement that technological development is not the sole measure of a civilization's worth, and we want assurance that no human settlement will ever again be threatened by the hegemony." Tal Kutar's eyes blinked in disbelief. "You penetrated our defenses and neutralized our fleet. For recognition? For respect," Elena corrected. "Something your civilization failed to." Hegemony vessels departing the scene. When confronted, High Commander Zex Vorax was dismissive. The settlement was established in a system marked for hegemony resource extraction. "Your primitive sensors likely missed our territorial beacons. This is regrettable but ultimately inconsequential. The hegemony suggests you restrict your activities to your home system until you can properly interpret galactic navigational markers." Elena's diplomatic veneer finally cracked. 50,000 lives are not inconsequential, High Commander. This act will be considered an unprovoked attack on humanity. "Attack." Zex Vorax's translator conveyed amusement. "One does not attack insects. One simply removes them when they interfere. Remember your place in the cosmos, human. The hegemony has destroyed civilizations far more advanced than yours for less provocation." The transmission ended, and Elena stood in stunned silence before issuing orders. "Set course for Earth, maximum speed. We need to prepare humanity for what's coming." The journey back was tense, filled with tactical discussions and debates about humanity's options. Upon reaching Earth orbit 3 months later, Elena presented her findings to the United Earth Security Council. The galactic hegemony represents an existential threat to human independence and possibly our survival, she concluded. They view us as a primitive species unworthy of respect or consideration. They've already demonstrated their willingness to eliminate human settlements they find inconvenient. The council chambers erupted in panicked discussion until Chairman Alvarez raised his hand for silence. Admiral Devereaux, what do you recommend? Our technology is clearly outmatched. Should we attempt further diplomacy? Offer concessions? Alina's expression hardened. No, Mr. Chairman. The hegemony respects only strength and technological advancement. They've made it clear that they consider us beneath them, and therefore our destruction or subjugation is a matter of convenience, not conscience. She paused, then continued with steel in her voice. I recommend initiating the Retribution Protocol. Murmurs filled the chamber. The Retribution Protocol had been theorized, but never formally adopted. A contingency plan for humanity facing a technologically superior hostile force. That would require unprecedented resource allocation, objected the economic minister. The strain on global infrastructure would be preferable to extinction, Alina interrupted. The hegemony doesn't know what we're truly capable of. They see our current technology and assume they understand our potential. That's their mistake. Dr. Weizhong, head of Earth's Advanced Sciences Division, spoke up. There are theoretical technologies we've hesitated to develop due to ethical considerations. The Retribution Protocol would remove those restrictions. Chairman Alvarez surveyed the room. We need to put this to a vote. The implications are too significant for any other course of action. The vote was unanimous. Humanity would not submit. They would not beg for protectorate status or retreat to their home system. Earth would prepare for war, a war against an enemy that didn't even consider them worthy opponents. As the council adjourned, Alina stood at the window overlooking the gleaming spires of New Geneva. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the city. Soon, humanity would need to marshal resources on an unprecedented scale, develop technologies they had only theorized, and prepare for a conflict with a civilization thousands of years more advanced. They laughed at us, she whispered to herself, watching the first stars appear in the darkening sky. They won't be laughing much longer. In the following months, Earth transformed. The global economy shifted to a war footing. Research facilities operated around the clock. The public was informed of the threat, but not its full extent. Knowledge that an overwhelming alien force might arrive at any moment would cause panic. In a secret facility beneath the Mariana Trench, construction began on humanity's response, a warship unlike any ever conceived. Its name, painted in stark white letters across its midnight black hull, was a promise and a warning. UES Retribution. The hegemony had dismissed humanity as primitives. They were about to learn just how dangerous primitives could be when fighting for their survival. The Silent Forge. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in the most secure facility ever constructed by human hands, Dr. Elijah Cohen stood before a viewport overlooking the massive construction bay. Below him, the UES Retribution took shape, a vessel designed not according to conventional wisdom, but born of desperate innovation. Magnificent, isn't she? General Weizhong appeared beside him, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of arc welders working on the ship's outer hull. Terrifying, Elijah corrected. I never imagined we'd build something as shock and fear. That was reality-facing technology, Alina explained calmly. A capability your scientists have theorized but never achieved. We could have rematerialized inside your vessel, destroying it from within. We could have targeted life support rather than weapons. We chose not to. She leaned forward in her command chair. This is humanity's final offer, recognition and respect, or demonstration of what happens when we stop exercising restraint. Your most powerful vessel is now defenseless. Your homeworld is exposed. Choose wisely, Supreme Overseer. The alien leader's scales had lost their luster, flattening against its body in what the intelligence database identified as a sign of submission. The High Council will receive your representatives to discuss terms. After the transmission ended, a palpable wave of relief swept through the Retribution's bridge crew. They had gambled everything on this mission: humanity's resources, their most advanced technologies, and the lives of everyone aboard. The gamble had paid off. Maintain battle readiness, Alina ordered. This isn't over until the treaty is signed. Lieutenant Rodriguez, transmit our success code to Earth. The diplomatic corps should prepare for immediate departure to Epsilon Eridani. As the message was sent, Alina disengaged partially from the neural interface, allowing herself to experience the moment as fully human rather than merge with the ship's systems. The hegemony had dismissed humanity as primitives, as insects to be brushed aside when inconvenient. Today, those primitives,